Hello and welcome to Greece for round 3 of the 2014 FIA European Rally Championship. It's the legendary Acropolis Rally, the Rally of the Gods, based in Loutraki on the Gulf of Corinth. And this spectacular scenery has played host to some of the world's great rally drivers in the event's 60-year history. Well, Robert Kubica is the championship leader. He is not present here. Esa-Pekka Lappi of Finland, tied with him on points then, takes over that spot ahead of Vasily Gryadzin, the Russian, who is hot on his heels.
Look at the amazing scenery. We're standing on a bridge, in the middle of a bridge on the Canal of Corinth, with Vasily Gryadzin, second in the driver standings in the European Championship. Vasily, what's your feeling standing here?
I'm feeling a little bit afraid because there is very high and it's not so comfortable for me.
Of course, you're here for the Acropolis Rally 2014 edition. What's your opinion on the rally?
The rally is very good, and there is very good that it's in the first day it's tarmac, and on the second day it's gravel. The tarmac roads here is very good. It's quite wide, and the gravel roads is very good. I very like it. Sometimes it's narrow, sometimes it's wide, and a lot of corners.
Well, over its 60-year history, the Acropolis Rally, always based around the Gulf of Corinth in Greece, has had a reputation as the ultimate car breaker of all events. It's 65 kilometres west of Athens, just outside the city of Corinth and its massive canal. Well, last it was a European Rally Championship round back in 1968, when the Mark I Ford Escort would have been the new kid on the block and the weapon of choice. Which is going to win this year? Well, the new weapon of choice, certainly for Craig Breen, is the R5 version of Peugeot's 208 T16. He and teammate Kevin Abring are both mounted in the new cars. Dutchman Abring says it's important for us to really get some data for the whole team here. This rally's vital. We can check the car on tarmac on day 1 and on gravel, which will be day 2. The flying Finn, Esa-Pekka Lappi, tops the championship point standings after winning last time out in Latvia.
For me, first time here, so the tarmac seems to be quite slippery, and also the gravel is okay. It's more or less okay, but it will be rough for the second loop, so it will be a challenging weekend for sure.
It's very early in the season, so it's not as hot and dusty as it might have been. This is Russian youngster Vasily Gryadzin. He competes with a Latvian license, and he worries that the tarmac stages will be just too quick for his Ford Focus S2000 to compete with the newer RRC and R5 cars. Poland's Kajtanovic is another rookie on the Acropolis. Kaite retired after a crash in Austria. He finished 4th in Latvia. And Brian Bouffier in his Citroën D3 RRC. DS3 is likely to be one of the favourites. And this event marks the return of Bruno Magalhães, the former Portuguese champion. He's in for 6 rounds of the European Rally Championship. Well, Kevin Abring starts well on the first stage, just 3.27 kilometres. He goes fastest through the qualifier, and he is first to choose his position for leg 1.
I'm very surprised. I mean, new car, new team, new co-driver, new pace notes, everything new. But I'm so happy to be back. I mean, it's been 2 years since I drove a proper four-wheel drive car on tarmac.
Ireland's Craig Breen, his teammate for the week, is second fastest through the qualifying stage, just 6/10 behind teammate Abring. So it's an impressive start for the new Peugeot. Joint championship leader Esa-Pekka Lappi, third fastest, messed up the start a little, cost himself time that he was never able to make back in such a short tarmac test. 0.7 seconds behind Abring, 0.1 then behind Breen. And Kajtan Kajtanovic of Poland, the 4-time Polish national champion, 4th quickest through the stage. And of course, this helps decide who gets to go where on the road, because it decides the order in which they choose. Brian Bouffier, 6th quickest. He gets to terms with his DS3 RRC Citroën, 1.2 seconds off the pace. So Abring choosing his starting position, and he goes for start number 3 on the road for the first of the 2 days of Rally Acropolis. Craig Breen, well, he's not going to go earlier in the order. He chooses start draw number 4. Points leader Lappi going for 5th on the road. Katanovic looking for 10th. He'll end up choosing 6th, and Brian Bouffier chooses to start 7th. And the ceremonial start in the evening on the bridge, 80 meters above the stunning Corinth Canal. Let's hope they all leave the ramp in a straightforward manner. So the Acropolis Rally then, 2 days. Day 1, 6 stages in total, all on tarmac, and this is unusual formatting for the Acropolis. 2 loops of 3 tests on day 1. It's dry, but it's a little breezy and not as bright and sunny as the Acropolis habitually is, but then it is only March, so a little bit cloudy, but nevertheless a chance for the drivers to really get their teeth into them. Longest stage is Ayanori. It's a 23.6 kilometre test. And after service, they will go in the afternoon and do the same 3 stages for a second run. So first stage, Ios Llanos, St John's, 21 kilometres, 9:30 start, road is dry.
Early slight left click. Early slight left click. 60, right 4.
So new car, new co-driver, learning the tyres, learning the stages. Kevin Abring 3rd on the road. And he has a little problem inside the car. He goes 3rd quickest.
I think after 3K in the stage, my display fell down. So I didn't see the gears and also not the shift light. So sometimes I was way too early in 5th gear, and but anyway, that's part of the new car. And for the rest, I must say I'm quite happy with the car, but the back is sliding a lot.
Well, teammate Craig Breen was 4th on the road, so right behind Abring. He set a 10-minute 31.3 time, 5 seconds slower than his teammate, but he reports the same issues, the Peugeot moving around a lot at the tail. However, he thinks he might know the reason for it.
Quite tricky. The car was moving a lot in the rear. It's the first time I'm driving with 2 spares, so I had a bit of a moment over the finish line, but just trying to get a feeling, but I'm quite happy.
So he thinks maybe the extra spare tyre in the back is just affecting the balance. Esa-Pekka Lappi, 5th on the road. And coming from the gravel of Finland, he is not yet quite as fluent as he would like to be on these tarmac stages. For almost everybody in this international European Championship field, this is new territory. Also around to the Greek Championship, and that's where the local knowledge lies.
Okay, it's not a good time, but it wasn't a perfect drive, but still it was more or less okay.
Lost 13.4 seconds in the stage. Brian Bouffier starting behind him, 7th on the road. And as each car goes through the stage, clearing away more of the surface dust, that means the tar is getting a little cleaner, maybe a little grippier, maybe a little faster. Less oversteer there for sure. Abring still fastest though, Bouffier 0.8 faster at the end of the stage. A great start, always nice to start a rally with the fastest time. I think that's the same for everybody. The stage a little bit slippery, a lot of blind corners. Not easy on a first stage like that to find a rhythm for the event. So Brian Bouffier by 0.8 of a second ahead of Kevin Abring. Kai Katanovic in 3rd place. Sepp Wiegand in his Skoda Fabia in 4th ahead of Craig Breen. Lappi, the championship leaders, Fabia in 6th place, did not have a good stage at all. Well, stay with us, lots more day 1 action to come as we return to the Acropolis right after this. Day one of the Acropolis Rally, round 3 of the European Rally Championship. We're in the Gulf of Corinth in Greece, heading to the second stage of the event. Day 1, all tarmac. Day 2, all gravel. And so far, it's Brian Bouffier, the Frenchman in his Citroën, who leads. It's a fast and flowing stage, the longest of the day, 23.6 kilometres. Sepp Wiegand, second man on the road, big moment. He's 4th overall after stage 1, comes out of this one in one piece, 5th quickest.
Not good, because in the beginning it was nice, but then I went off. We got out of the road and stuck a little bit in a ditch, so we lost a lot of time, and after I lose my confidence to feel the grip. I was braking normal brake point like before, but it was like ice. I was sliding a lot. I went off, so I lose the confidence and for sure time.
Poland's Kajtan Kajtanovic, 6th man on the road. 3rd overall after stage 1. And in what is habitually a dry event, Kajtanovic hits standing water and skates right off the road. Avoids major damage, but loses time backing up, getting going again. He comes 4th quickest, remains 3rd overall. Kaito says we had to reverse, lost about 12 seconds. Some standing water wasn't supposed to be there, it wasn't raining. Now, you know, we'll go on to the next stage.
Slight left, very fast.
Kevin Abring, second fastest in stage 1, chasing Brian Bouffier for the lead. The Dutchman with this brand new R5 version of the Peugeot 208 T16. Admitted to being just a little cautious towards the end of the stage.
100.
Maybe the helicopter was putting him off. Everybody's been cutting the corners, leaving a lot of gravel out there as well. Too easy in this brand new car to make a mistake. What about Brian Bouffier? Well, Abring's time, 11 minutes, 26.4 seconds for the stage. Bouffier with a 0.8 of a second lead after stage 1. 4 kilometres before the end of the stage, he hits a rock in the road. I had no idea it was going to be there. He gets to the end of the stage, but has picked up a right front puncture, and that costs him time. He'll drop to 4th place overall, 17.1 seconds behind the new leader. Had a puncture about 4 kilometres before the end of the stage. Hit a stone. Guess we didn't see that in the recce. Immediately had a puncture, but that's the way it is. We lost a bit of time. Could be worse. So into the 3rd stage of the event, 17.6 kilometres. Sari on board again with Kevin Abring, rally leader now, 6.7 seconds ahead of teammate Craig Breen in the other Peugeot at the start of the stage. All going well so far, a little bit over ambitious perhaps, or really not quite aware how much the hairpin handbrake turn was going to work for him then. Almost spun it, got away with it. Well, his time 10 minutes 9. Craig Breen battling for the lead. He's been behind the Dutchman on the first 2 stages. Can he strike back and narrow the gap?
Into flat 2 left.
Irishman adding into the notes as he drives. Abring 10.09.7, and Breen at the flying finish is going to be quicker by 3.8 seconds. Fastest on the stage.
I don't know, the surface is so slippy in some places, and it looks the very same as it is everywhere else, so very difficult to predict, but we've got around it anyway, and the speed hasn't been so bad.
What about Kaito? Well, Kajtanovic struggling to keep up with the Peugeots. Here's Ford Fiesta R5, not able to match their pace. He lost time on the previous stage with that understeering problem caused him to try and find reverse. Battling for third place with Brian Bouffier. The M Sport car goes through 10 minutes 13.1. Bouffier losing time with that puncture. Damage, you can see the legacy of that on the right front corner. He was 7.5 seconds away from Kajtanovic in third place at the start of this stage. Whoa, and that's why you don't stand right by the tapes at a runoff area. Still comes through 3 seconds faster than Kajtanovic. Bahraini to improve. Had a puncture on stage 2, overshot on stage this one. Not good, he said. Car's going well, but the driver not so. As Pekka Lappi, the championship leader, not having a great morning in the Skoda. He jumped the start on this one after being too tardy away from one of the previous stage starts, so he gets a 10-second penalty. 6th overall, but over half a minute back now, 33.4 seconds adrift of leader Kevin Abreng. And as for Bruno Magalhaes, a while since we've seen him in European Rally Championship action. His Super 2000 Peugeot 207 is on a hard Pirelli compound, lacking grip. He will switch to the softs for the afternoon to try and find a bit more speed. 7th place overall in the older Peugeot. So Abreng leading by 2.9 from Breen, the brand new cars on top of the pile. Kajtanovic in the R5 of the Ford Fiesta, and the Citroen R5 right behind for Brian Bouffier. Sepp Wiegand in 5th place ahead of the championship leader. Lappi struggling, only the second best of the Skodas. So heading for midday service on the bay of the Gulf of Corinth and Loutraki. As you can see, a little bit windy, still cloudy overhead. Our rally leader, Kevin Abreng.
Het wordt een belangrijke bandenkeuze voor de middag.
We've got a very important tyre choice to make for this afternoon. It's going to go one way or the other, but at moments everything's going well for us. We're learning a lot on every single stage. Well, the drivers await the very last moment to try and make those all-important tyre choices for the afternoon stages. Abreng will take hard Michelin with a softer pair of tyres in the back of the car. So drivers heading for stage 4, the first of the afternoon loop. Coming next. Welcome back to Greece. Day 1 of the Acropolis Rally, round 3 of the European Rally Championship for 2014. We're into the final leg of stages. It's the second pass of the stages they ran through in the morning. Stage 4, the longest of the day at over 30 kilometres, and that is going to have a little bit of rain, it would seem, in the middle. Over 23 kilometres rather. So stages 4 and 5 then, Saturday afternoon. Ios Ioannis, first one, and drama again for Sepp Wiegand. Busy hands. They're going to have to stop in the stage and bail out. Left rear wheel. And Wiegand on the phone. It's more than just tyre damage. Looks like the suspension is a bit of a write-off. Fastest time, meanwhile, for Kevin Abreng, despite fluid leaking from the front of the car, which he will need to trace after the stage. He was fastest in stage 4. Stage 5, the longest of the afternoon, finds him in a lay-by. Well, he and Seb Marshall, his co-driver, are out of the event. And that leaves Craig Breen, third fastest through stage 4, second fastest on stage 5. And he will be hoping that whatever afflicted his teammate's car is not going to strike twice. That would be very tough indeed for Peugeot. They need miles to continue with the development progress of this brand new car.
you know, it's really disappointing that 2 cars on their debut event in the European Championship are first and second. So it's very disappointing for him, but it's okay. It's good for our rally. We'll just have to see how the guys are coming behind.
Talking about behind, this is Esa-Pekka Lappi in his S2000 Skoda Fabia. Long straight here, and he is on the rev limiter. The R5 cars have got a higher top speed than the older Super 2000 cars like the Skoda and the 207 Peugeot Bruno Magales. 5th quickest on stage 4, 3rd quickest on stage 5. Bearing in mind those 2 retirements, of course. That brings him back into contention. Championship leader, 4th overall now.
Top speed is 170.
170?
Yeah. So the Peugeot and Ford is going almost 200, so it's there's a big gap.
There's a big gap indeed for Fiesta R5 then with better top speed. Good battle between him, Kajtanovic that is, and Brian Bouffier behind him. The pole 2.2 seconds slower, quicker rather than Bouffier in stage 4, but slower than Bouffier in stage 5. Bouffier went through stage 5 quickest of all, and Kajtanovic losing 5.7 seconds. So heading into the final stage today, the Ford driver 2nd overall, a second ahead of Brian Bouffier. So heading into Psari, the last stage of the day. Again, little sprinkle of raindrops, not much, but a few wet sections in the stage. There have been many years in past Acropolises where the drivers would have begged for the relief of some rain. This is not the height of the summer though. Craig Breen, fastest through this stage, first time in the morning. Can he repeat it? Comes the flying finish with a 10-minute 0.7 second. He has the overnight lead.
A bit slippy in some places, but glad to get to the end of the first day. I'd really hoped to think we could keep on to the lead overnight. I think it'll be a fantastic achievement.
Esa-Pekka Lappi, 4th quickest. And he loses nearly 7 seconds to Craig Breen, 6.9 slower through the test. But with gravel coming up for day 2, he could still be a big threat.
So far it's dry, but yeah, when it starts, you know, you can see the drops in the windscreen, so immediately you start to, you know, scare because it was so slippery in the first one of this loop. So yeah, I took a bit careful at the end.
Kajtanovic battling hard with Brian Bouffier for 2nd spot. The Ford versus the Citroën, behind the Peugeot, ahead of the Skoda. Well, his confidence growing in this car all the time on these tricky Greek tarmac stages. Just 2.3 seconds adrift of Craig Breen.
To był bardzo dobry odcinek. Prawdopodobnie mamy drugi czas.
A good stage. At least I guess so. I think we're 2nd at the moment. Very happy with the way it's been going today. Car's great. The team done a really good job. Tomorrow, though, will be a completely different day. 2nd day of the rally. It's going to be very different from today. So, what will Brian Bouffier do in the Citroën DS3? This is the regional rally car version of the DS3. Pushing hard, ignoring those few spots of rain, and he's a 2nd behind Craig Breen. Good end to the day. I made a few mistakes. The car, though, has been perfect. Tricky conditions, so I think we're pretty happy with the way it went. Tomorrow, though, another big day to come. And for Vasily Gryazin, who we met at the beginning of the show, the Russian driver 6th quickest, and so he will end the day in 5th place overall. He too might be more confident on the gravel of the 2nd leg, but Craig Breen in the brand new Peugeot leads the field, 14.7 seconds ahead of Brian Bouffier and Kai Kajtanovic, who are just 3/10 apart in the battle for the other podium places. And some of our gravel exponents behind them could well put in a challenge in day 2. For now, though, Craig Breen not only the rally leader, he's also top of the ERC Asphalt Master standings after the all-tarmac first day. 5 points ahead of Abreng and Bouffier. Leg 2 will count for the Gravel Master standings. So heading into service, 5 o'clock this afternoon. Busy time for the teams. They've got to change the setup of the car from tar to gravel. So brakes, shocks, anti-roll bars, differential settings, ride heights, a whole slew of adjustments to return the cars from tarmac racer to the sort of thing that is more likely to survive the rigours of the rocky roads of the Corinth Peninsula. This is now going to head into day 2 on gravel. The old-style Acropolis may well have a tale or two to tell. And of course, they'll need to choose their tyres carefully as well for tomorrow's stages. Brian saying, of course, there's a big difference between these two kind of tyres. The tarmac tyre doesn't have a lot of tread, only 2 grooves just in case of wet for stop you aquaplaning. As you can say, it's pretty wide, pretty flat and pretty smooth. These 2 longitudinal grooves are really doing all the clearing away of the water. The gravel tyre, though, many more tread blocks. The surface is much looser, more slippery. The tyre moves a bit more and digs in a lot more to generate more grip. The gravel tyre is smaller than the tarmac as well, so you get more lateral grip from it. It's not as wide. It's more reinforced. The sidewalls are stronger. You can hit big stones sideways without picking up a puncture, hopefully. Tarmac tyre moves around a little bit, but it has to be flexible to gain grip at the grip levels that it will be generating. On tarmac, we've got 4 Michelin compounds, super soft, R11, R21, R31, so that's super soft to hard across the range according to the surface and temperatures and rain and so on. On gravel, 2 compounds, S1 and H1. H1 is recommended for this rally because there's lots of rocks, but if it starts raining and the surface cuts up, then we'll look at taking the S1. So the teams and the drivers are set for the second day of the Acropolis Rally. Join us tomorrow to see what happens in round 3 of the 2014 European Rally Championship. Greece's fabulous Rally Acropolis. Welcome to Greece and round 3 of the FIA European Rally Championship for 2014. It's the legendary Acropolis Rally held as ever just on the Gulf of Corinth outside the city of Loutraki. Corinth Canal that separates the peninsula is the venue for the ceremonial start of this event. The Acropolis Rally for many, many years part of the World Rally Championship and an absolutely outstanding rally. Well, as they come here, we have joint championship leaders, Robert Kubica and Esa-Pekka Lappi. Kubica not competing in Greece, and that leaves the goal open for Finland's Lappi to try and use this rally to his advantage and extend his championship lead.
Right up on the crest in caution 40, early slight left click.
Well, it's the first appearance in competition of the Peugeot 208 216, T16, driven by former Volkswagen Rally driver Dutchman Kevin Abreng. He made a flamboyant and impressive start, taking the lead after 3 stages, but retired on stage 5 yesterday, the penultimate one, with a water leak. Well, what was bad news for him might also have ended up being bad news for Craig Breen, but whatever the problem was for Abreng's car, it didn't strike his teammate's 208 T16. Breen had been in 2nd spot. He won 2 of the day's tarmac stages to take the overnight lead. Freshman Brian Bouffier picked up a punch on stage 2, made an overshoot mistake on stage 3, dropping a little time, but still in 2nd place in his Citroën DS3 RRC. 14.7 seconds, the overnight deficit to the leader. Kajtanovic of Poland in his Ford Fiesta R5, worrying that his top speed might not be quite enough on the fast tarmac stages, battling with Brian Bouffier nevertheless, just 0.3 of a second behind overnight. But for Esa-Pekka Lappi, the championship leader coming in here, struggling, lacking torque and speed, 43.8 seconds behind, just ahead of Dmitry Gryazin, the Russian, Vasily Gryazin, the Russian. Bruno Magalhães, the former Portuguese champion, returning for the first of 6 ERC rallies. He's in a 2:07 this time. Next time out, he will be in a 2:08 T16. Well, leg 2 was all about tarmac. Leg 1, rather, was all about tarmac. Leg 2, all about gravel. Very different format for the shortened 2-day European Rally Championship version of the Acropolis. And it's an earlier time of the year as well, so although there is sunshine around, it hasn't got the searing heat of midsummer. And there was a little bit of a sprinkling of rain on day 1. Well, 7 stages rather in the second leg, 6 on gravel, just the super special, stage 10 held on tarmac. So the first 3 stages in the opening loop in the morning. Stage 8 is the longest, 22.2 kilometres as they loop to and fro across the Corinth Canal. And starting bright and early, 9 o'clock Sunday morning. The clock's changing overnight, meaning 1 less hour of sleep. Esa-Pekka Lappi, the Finn, in his Super 2000 Skoda Fabia, now the former dominant car in European Rally Championship terms, starting to show its age against the newer machinery. 5th man on the road. And really a little bit at sea yesterday on the tarmac. On the gravel today, though, more at home. 4th quickest through the stage.
No, not good time, but yeah, I tried to come, but I didn't get the feeling because less grip, so not good, but I just have to, you know, try to improve.
Well, like all the European Championship runners, he is a rookie here. He's not rallied on the Acropolis before, nor has Kajtanovic, the Pole, 6th starter overnight, battling hard with Brian Bouffier for 2nd place overall in the rally. Well, they have competed against each other numerous times in the Polish Championship, which Bouffier has made his sort of rallying second home. Kajtanovic finishes in 11 minutes 59.5. Pushing very hard, he said. It's quite similar to yesterday because it's really quick. Even though it's on gravel, still trying to find some sort of rhythm, he said. So we'll have to see how it goes for the remainder of the loop. Got to try and push hard though, because Brian's very close. Brian is very close. Just 0.3 of a second overnight between the battlers for this 2nd spot. Bouffier with the slight advantage, and 7th man on the road, maybe a few less loose stones under his tyres. Well, on the stage right after Kajtanovic's Ford gets to the end, and he's over 12 minutes. He's dropped 10.8 seconds, and he drops to 3rd. Well, not a great time on the stage. Kaita had a super excellent run, he said. We've got to try and push a little harder on the next stages because the gap is widening. Craig Breen started 8th on the road. Came through just a fraction quicker than Kajtanovic, 0.8 of a second. But that's enough to extend his advantage. Kajtanovic moving up to 2nd. Craig Breen keeping his head. Of course, with this brand new car making its debut, they were 1-2 at one stage up until the retirement of Kevin Abring yesterday.
I'm discovering the car because our test was very short on gravel, so we're carrying 2 spare wheels, and it made the car a little bit different. So, but very, very loose in some places, very, very loose. So I'm happy to get to the finish.
Of course, coming from Ireland, he's grown up with tarmac stages, so all this rallying on the loose is still being learned, but learned fast. Breen in control as they get to the 2nd stage of the morning. near Keneta, 22 kilometers and change. This is Vasily Gryazin. He is a Russian, but rallies on a Latvian license, and slow through here. He's picked up a puncture, finding somewhere to stop and change the wheel. Costs him over 3 minutes. So Esapaka Lappi go by him, and he drops from 5th to 8th, Gryazin. Lappi in the Skoda, a long way from the fastest time on the stage, though. As you can see, very dramatic moment. He continued for about half the stage with a puncture. 26 seconds it cost him. In these conditions, it's arguable whether it's better to change the puncture or not. He decided not to. The time loss significant either way. Kajtanovic having dramas on this stage, having just moved up to second place. Has a problem with power steering. Had to reset the car in the middle of the stage. So apart from the leader, it would seem everybody struggling on this one. So Kajtanovic comes to the end, 14 minutes, 18.1 seconds. Goal open for Brian Bouffier to try and capitalise on that. As you can see, lots of loose rocks and gravel on the roads this early in the spring. Very sideways indeed, the Frenchman. Pushing hard. Starting to dial himself back into gravel mode. 14.18 is the target. He's going to be well inside that, isn't he? He's going to take 10 seconds back. Oh, and more, 12.5. Brian Bouffier moves back up into second place.
Early 4 left minus of a crest, don't cut.
And as for Craig Breen,
30, flat 2 left into dip. And 2 right of a crest and slow 4 left minus short.
co-driver Martin Scott on the notes.
70 going down, stop up. 3 right minus, tightens. And crest and sudden slow 5 left plus, new dip. 30, flat 1 right of a crest, 70, flat 1.
Fast, fluent and communicating nicely with his driver. 6.9 seconds slower than Brian Bouffier through the stage, and arrived at the end of the stage with past the rear bumper missing, which told its own story. Bouffier 19.5 behind, but now 21 seconds ahead of Kajtanovic after that problem with the power steering for the Polish driver. Has that settled the battle for second place? It remains to be seen. Lots more action still to come on the Acropolis Rally. The 2014 Acropolis Rally forms round 3 of the FIA European Rally Championship. We're on the second day after day 1 was all tarmac. Day 2 features the rocky roads of the Gulf of Corinth Peninsula and the classic puncture-laden Acropolis car breaker stages. This is stage 9, Loutraki, the third of the stages, the last before midday service in the morning. Kajtanovic. The battle raging between the Polish driver and arch-rival Brian Bouffier. Kajtanovic took second place after the first stage of the day, lost it again after the second. Well, he and the Frenchman have no option now. They know they're in a hand-on-each-other's throat battle. Whoever lifts first will lose the spot. Classic Greek hillside roads. Should be familiar to many, many World Rally Championship drivers. Last time this was a European spec event, back in 1968. Ford's weapon of choice then would have been, well, Mark 1 Escort, perhaps. Brian Bouffier in his Citroën DS3. Citroën's rally weapon of choice in 68 would have been a DS as well, the original Goddess. Well, Kajtanovic, 12 minutes and 10 seconds through the stage. Bouffier not over happy with his driving so far, wasn't quite convinced he was as good as he should have been on tarmac yesterday. still not quite found the rhythm after the first two stages. Can he get through here and hold on to the second place that is seesawing between himself and the pole? It's going to be close. This battle for second could well come down at the end of the rally to tenths of a second, not whole seconds. 2.4 slower. And he drops to second place. He was 2 seconds in front. He is now 0.4 of a second behind. Craig Breen, the rally leader, maintaining his advantage over the Kaitanovic-Bouffier battle. Lapi Magalhaes ahead of Tarabus in his Skoda. And then Griatsin struggling on both days here in Greece in his Ford Fiesta Super 2000. So into service. Lunchtime at Loutraki. Kaitanovic having a problem in the second of the morning's loop with a power steering failure. They had to reset the car's electronics. Now, after rebuilding the tarmac spec car into gravel spec overnight, they have it ready for the final 4 stages of the event. Short super special on tarmac, but as you can see from the high wheel arch clearances, the car's still very much in gravel spec. Makes them a bit wallowy. Kaitanovic was 4th quickest. Brian Bouffier jumped ahead again. Jaromir Tarabus was fastest of all. But see what he's running? Slick tyres. Now that was expressly forbidden, so unfortunately the Czech picked up a 3-minute penalty. Stage 11. Kylenia to Mycenae. Second run through the morning stages to finish the day. All the loose gravel on top has gone, as the Greek Rally Championship runners have also gone through the stages. Bruno Magalhaes in his Super 2000 207. It's his first of 6 events in the ERC this year. Next time out in the Azores, he will be in a 208. Griatsin picked up a puncture earlier. He's clipped a tree. You can see the damage on the car, and that's where it happened. He's 6th place behind Magalhaes. And as for this man, the championship leader coming in here, struggling. Whatever the conditions here in Greece, they don't seem to have suited him. 3rd fastest on this stage, though. But he lost time with a puncture earlier on. Didn't change it. Might have lost more time if he had. Kaitanovic then, this titanic battle for second place with Bouffier. Changing hands with every stage. So which way is the flip-flop going to work this time? Lost second to Bouffier on the Super Special. 0.3 of a second behind coming into this test. This is unbelievably tight stuff on the rocky roads. Imagine how easy it would be to brake just a fraction earlier and lose 0.3 of a second. Well, looks like a good time from Kaitanovic. He's saying wouldn't be a smart move to try and beat drivers who are much more experienced than me at the moment. Well, he's got plenty of experience rallying against Bouffier in his home championship in Poland. Bouffier running on the road behind Kaitanovic. He was 0.3 of a second in front before the start of this stage. Kaitanovic's time at the top, 11 minutes 47, and the flying finish is just round the corner. He's going to beat it and extend his second-placed advantage. Ooh, that's a big advantage.
Did Kaito get some troubles? Well, he's saying not, but I don't believe him. So it's okay. If he hasn't got any problems, it's a good time for us.
And here is your rally leader, Craig Breen.
40. Slight left into 4 right minus.
Well, with Bouffier pushing hard, Breen cannot relax, but he wants to be cautious and not throw this away. He was fastest on the first run through the stage, and he goes fastest again. Eases another 3.7 seconds out ahead of Bouffier to 18.3, the lead.
You have no idea how much I want to win this, and I want to put me and Scott and everybody just putting everything we can into it. So
everything into it, indeed. Brian Bouffier, 18.3 behind, now looking relatively settled, 11 seconds and change over Kajtanovic, with Latvian Makilesh ahead of Griazin, filling the other top 6 places. 2 stages to go in Greece, and as regular Acropolis fans will know, anything could yet happen. Welcome back to the 2014 Acropolis Rally, round 3 of the European Rally Championship. 2 more stages to go here in Greece to decide the fate of the victor. We're heading into near Kenita for the 2nd time. 2nd pass through the fastest stage of the leg. Estepe Kalapi in his Skoda Fabia Super 2000, 3rd quickest. But again, on the limiter, a long time on the far sections of this stage, unable to compete with the RRC and R5 cars that are now getting quicker and quicker. Normally aspirated Super 2000, revving its racing head off. Kajtan Kajtanovic, his Ford Fiesta, the R5 version of the car. Not pushing quite as hard as before. I think he is feeling that he has lost the battle with Brian Bouffier. Settling for a spot on the podium in 3rd place. He said it wouldn't be wise to battle with somebody with much more experience. And that was a tacit indication that he would happily take 3rd, now that 2nd seemed to be out of his reach. Brian Bouffier pushing hard. Kajtanovic only 4th quickest through that stage. That battle definitely over. So Bouffier perhaps just tantalisingly thinking about a win in Greece. Well, setting the fastest time on the stage, 13 minutes 47 seconds, despite looping round on a loose right-hander, losing a few seconds and a little bit of momentum. The Frenchman daring to dream about the chance, perhaps, of moving to the top step of the podium.
Go on, keep on it. Into 4 left plus, tightens, keep in, 30, 4 right
Bring
plus,
obeying the first rule there of all front-wheel drive cars. If in doubt, keep the power in and hope that it'll drive itself round, and it did in that half spin. Loses just a whisker to Bouffier, 1.8 seconds through the stage slower. And with 1 to go, he'll have a 16.5-second advantage. Could it be that Peugeot's 208 T16 R5 will win on its debut? It looks as though that might be the case, but let's not hex it before it ends up in ruins. Let's take a look at the 2-wheel drive cup. This is Tibor Erdi of Hungary in his Mitsubishi Lancer. This is the production cup, of course. Leading into the very final stage. But damage destroyed the rear suspension of his car. He could not make it to Loutraki and to the podium. And Vitaly Pushkar, he picked up a puncture in his Evo 10 Lancer, but still won the production cup. Ekaterina Strataeva in her Subaru Impreza, the only female driver in the event. She leads the ladies' trophy point standings. Vitaly Pushkar coming out on top. Martin Hudec in 2nd, Beppo Harac of Austria completing the podium. And in the 2-wheel drive cup, Honda Civic Type R back out again. Zoltan Besenyi, the reigning European 2-wheel drive champion. He took the lead in the 2-wheel drive cup after stage 5 on day 1, but dropped out of the lead on stage 11, and he was never able to regain it. Again in a big battle with its French rivals. This is Simon Tempestini of Romania in the DS3 R3T. looking good going into what else but the final stage. Lost the rally, damaged his radiator and retired, and that allowed Yevgeny Savchenko of Russia in the Renault Clio R3 to scrabble his way to the top of the pile. Acropolis still has that car breaker nature. The two-wheel drive standings after the Acropolis. Jan Czerny still leading from Michael Boehm. Savchenko, though, up to third place ahead of Bessennier. With one stage to go then, everything to play for in the 60th Acropolis Rally. Bruno Magalhães, fifth place on his first European Rally Championship event of the season in the 207 Super 2000. Last time, at least that's the plan, that he'll be in that Peugeot. Best result on the rally, he was fourth place on stage 8. Championship leader Lappi, fourth overall, off the pace, outgunned, outpowered, and didn't have the top speed to compete, but still scored points in fourth. And as for Kaito, well, his Fiesta in a fantastic battle with Brian Bouffier until a couple of stages before the end. Fourth quickest through this stage, sealing his first podium in the European Rally Championship this year. I just want to say thanks to all the fans, spectators. They've been amazing here. And the fans back in Poland as well. Can feel them wishing us on. They're with us here, and that's very important for us, so thanks to them. And so the battle for victory then. Brian Bouffier in second place coming into the stage, 16.5 seconds behind. And all it needs is a puncture, one way or the other, to rip that apart. Well, he finishes with a final fastest stage time. I made a few mistakes during the weekend, and I think they're going to count now, but that's rallying. At the end of the day, good weekend, difficult rally. I want to say thanks to all the sponsors. The team has given us a great car here. Thanks to my co-driver as well, and hopefully we'll be stronger next time out. So Craig Breen, one stage away from a much desired European Rally Championship win, and it almost goes wrong here.
Slight left, 30.
Engine stuttering after the water splash. Just a moment of a scare. Breen and Scott Martin fearing they might have lost the rally. On top of that, their time didn't come up on the board at the stage finish. Very stressy moments. Has he won it? Yes, he has. Beating Brian Bouffier by 8.1 seconds. His mum and dad, his friends are there, and co-driver Scott Martin celebrates as well. Craig Breen claims his first international victory. What a rally to win. The mighty Acropolis.
I'm over the moon. You know, a debut in the car, you know, such a traditional event as the Acropolis Rally, and to have won it in my first event. It's the first international event I've ever won, so I'm just speechless at the moment, and I'm happy for the man above. That's the most important thing.
How big a day is this in Craig Breen's career?
The biggest day so far.
Well, and another big day, who knows? Maybe in 3 weeks' time when they head to the next round, the Circuit of Ireland, another legendary event. Craig Breen, the winner on the Acropolis. Brian Bouffier, Kaito Kaitanovic completing the podium. And not just a win for Breen as well, as he stylishly handbrakes into service. A debut win for Peugeot's brand new baby, the 208 T16. And that is mighty impressive as well. A team that has had so much rally success with so many different cars over the years has produced another winner right out of the box. And what's more, Craig Breen is now the European Rally Championship leader. What a weekend. Bouffier leaps up to 6th place. Lappi in second. Of course, Robert Kubica not here, so he hasn't scored, so he drops down to 5th place. And Breen taking all the plaudits on the Acropolis. Day 1, he got the tarmac master. Day 2, he was the gravel master. A point ahead of Brian Bouffier, and he also took the Colin McRae flat-out trophy for the 3rd time in his European Rally Championship career. The Acropolis Rally 2014 will be one that is very memorable indeed for Craig Breen, his friends and his family. As he said, there's one person who would have loved to have been there to celebrate it with him, who I'm sure everybody will be thinking of as well. Next time out, the Circuit of Ireland, another legendary event. We'll see you Easter weekend. Bye for now.